Imagine this. You're standing by a lever that controls the direction of a runaway trolley. On the current track, there are 5 people oblivious to the danger, but on the alternate track, there's just one person. With a simple pull of the lever, you could decide who lives and who doesn't. This is the trolley problem, a moral predicament placing you between the rock of action and the hard place of inaction. Now, what would you do in such a situation? Meet Alice. Alice is our unsuspecting protagonist in this tale of tough choices, a paragon of the everyday person thrust into an extraordinary situation. Picture this. Alice is walking near a set of trolley tracks when she stumbles upon a lever. She notices a runaway trolley barreling down the tracks, and here's the catch. There are 5 unsuspecting workmen on the track ahead, oblivious to the oncoming danger. On the adjacent track, separated by the flip of the lever, stands a lone workman, equally unaware of the looming catastrophe. Alice realizes the power she holds. She can pull the lever, diverting the trolley onto the track with one person, or she can do nothing, and the trolley will continue on its course, potentially ending 5 lives. Alice is in a quandary. Should she actively intervene, knowingly sacrificing 1 life to save 5? Or should she remain a passive bystander, allowing the trolley to follow its current track, leading to a greater loss of life but maintaining her non-intervention? It's a moral tightrope that Alice finds herself walking on, a precarious balance between action and inaction, between choosing a life and letting fate decide. This is the essence of the trolley problem, a philosophical thought experiment that places us at the heart of a moral dilemma, forcing us to question our ethical boundaries. It's a scenario that poses the question, what value do we place on human life? And how do we weigh one life against another? It's a question of utilitarianism versus deontological ethics, of greater good versus absolute morality. In this tale, Alice isn't just a character. She is each of us, faced with decisions that bear weight on others, decisions that may not have a clear right or wrong. She is the embodiment of our struggle with morality, forcing us to confront our own values and principles. In that split second, Alice has to make a decision. But the question is, what should that decision be? Let's delve a little deeper into the consequences of Alice's possible actions. In one world, Alice pulls the lever, shifting the trolley's course to the lesser populated track. This is a prime example of utilitarianism, a philosophy that advocates for the greatest happiness for the greatest number. The logic is simple: fewer casualties, more happiness preserved. The math checks out, but does our moral compass? On the other hand, if Alice refrains from pulling the lever, she allows fate to run its course, letting the trolley continue on its original path. This aligns with deontology, which asserts that certain actions are morally right or wrong, regardless of their outcomes. Here, Alice avoids actively causing harm, even if it means more lives could be lost. Is this inaction morally defensible? These two philosophies are often at odds, and Alice's dilemma serves to illustrate this tension. The utilitarian would argue that Alice has a moral duty to minimize harm, even if it means actively intervening. The deontologist, however, would maintain that Alice should not play God, should not decide who lives and who dies. It's a mental tug-of-war, a battle of conflicting ethical principles. Does the end justify the means? Or are there moral lines we simply should not cross, regardless of the potential benefits? So it seems like there's no easy answer. Or is there? You might be thinking, when would I ever face such a problem in real life? Well, you'd be surprised. Ethical dilemmas akin to the trolley problem pop up more often than you might think. One of the most prominent examples today is the advent of self-driving cars. Imagine a scenario where an autonomous vehicle must decide between colliding into a group of pedestrians or swerving to hit a single person. How should the car's program decide who to save? It's like our trolley problem on wheels. Then there are those who must make these tough decisions as part of their jobs, like doctors deciding who gets a life-saving organ transplant when there aren't enough to go around. It's not a trolley, but the gravity of the choice is the same. And let's not forget our beloved TV series The Good Place, which humorously grapples with the trolley problem. The show's protagonist, Eleanor, is forced to face the problem head-on, literally, in a hilarious yet thought-provoking episode. It's a clever way to depict how these moral predicaments aren't confined to dusty philosophy textbooks. Even in our everyday lives, we're constantly faced with smaller-scale trolley problems. Do we prioritize our own interests or those of others? Do we follow the rules or break them for a greater good? So, as it turns out, the trolley problem isn't just a philosophical thought experiment, it's a real-world issue too. So, we've taken a ride on the trolley of ethical dilemmas, and it's time to step off. We've journeyed together through the twists and turns of the trolley problem, and hopefully, you found it as thought-provoking as I have. We started with the burning question, the core dilemma that has stumped philosophers for decades. Would you pull the lever to divert the trolley, sacrificing one life to save 5? We dug deeper into this conundrum, exploring the philosophical principles at play. On one hand, we have utilitarianism, where the greatest good for the greatest number is the guiding principle. On the other, we have deontology, where the morality of an action is based on whether that action itself is right or wrong, regardless of the outcome. Then we shifted gears and brought the trolley problem into the real world. We looked at how this age-old ethical puzzle has real-life applications, from self-driving cars to healthcare decisions. It's not just a hypothetical scenario anymore, but a dilemma we may face in the not-so-distant future. I encourage you to ponder on what you would do if you were at the controls of that fateful trolley. Would you pull the lever, or would you stand by and let fate run its course? The next time you face a tough choice, remember the trolley problem. And remember, there's no right or wrong answer, only the one that you can live with. Before we wrap up, I'd like to invite you all to join me in this intellectual journey. If you've enjoyed our ride on the trolley today and you're curious about the many more philosophical conundrums we'll be tackling, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button and enable notifications. This way you'll be notified every time we embark on a new cerebral odyssey, and I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the trolley problem? Would you pull the lever or let fate take its course? Your reflections are not only welcome but greatly appreciated in the comments section below. Remember, philosophy is not a spectator sport. It requires active participation, and you are a crucial part of this journey. So subscribe to @ChasingSunsets49, and let's continue to explore the depths of our minds together. Until we meet again, remain curious, stay thoughtful, and take good care of yourselves.